It's a Stelar lock. It's a disc detainer. It's hard to see, but when you put the key in, you turn it 180, this opens up. Turn it back, it's locked. And to pick this lock, you want all the little discs in a row, all orientated the same way. Nice smooth passage. Lets you put the key in. And if you don't have the key, use the disc detainer pick. This paddle moves the discs, and this part down here, that's what turns the actual lock. So, see, you can't turn this all the way and open the lock because you haven't picked it yet. So, just lightly fill around with those. It only feels like 3 or 4 discs. And sometimes this takes about 20 seconds, sometimes 2 minutes. Slowly going down. There. Just unlocked it. Took a little bit longer than usual. That's okay. And you're just going like that, slowly in. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. A little more, a little more. Then you get past it and there's nothing there, so you bring it back. And when you think you've got them, you can try and turn this part of it, which opens the whole deal. These Stelar, spelled wrong, so Stelar locks, they look really cool, but they're really easy to pick with disc detainer lock picks. Also, this little bevel here, if you pull that out with just any old key, house key or a screwdriver, or if it's an older one with your fingernail, the entire core of the lock will fall out. So these and copies of this go on eBay for, I got this one for $8, but they have identical ones that people are selling for $100, and they're the same terrible thing, that it's actually faster just to pop that off and get into the lock. Which is why a lot of ads on eBay and Amazon, they don't show you this part of the lock, because then you'll see, oh, it's a disc detainer, easy to pick, and also this little thing pops right out and the whole lock mechanism falls out. Other than that, they're really, heavy locks. They sell them in 3 different sizes. I think this is the smallest or the middle size. Very heavy. And here's what the key looks like. You see it's bevels in there, not cut all the way through. So that's kind of cool looking. And people think, wow, this is a really, really great lock. I'm glad I paid $90 for a good beefy lock with a weird key. But super easy to pick with a disc detainer pick. And if you don't have a disc detainer pick, stick a pencil in there. If you have long fingernails, a car key, a nail, anything, you pop this ring off and most of the locking mechanism just falls right out onto the ground. That, and they spelled Stelar wrong, so it's Stelar. I like it. It's imposing looking. If I saw that, I'd be like, wow, that's a strong lock. You know, this spins when it's in here. It says it's hardened. I don't think it is. I think it's a hardened tube, just on some regular mild steel. But, you know, depending on what you have that on, that would be hard to use a bolt cutter with. And most people, honestly, are going to say, well, I can't get a bolt cutter on it. I'll hit this a couple times with a hammer. No, I can't get it open. I'm going to move on. Some other people say, oh, it's got one of those weird rings. If I pop that off with, you know, a fingernail file, a ballpoint pen, whatever, I can get in there and just jiggle it around and it'll open. And there is a less destructive method of a disc detainer pick. And these, you turn the key clockwise to open. But that's about it. You just jiggle around and it'll open. It's a casual affair. You're just no pressure. You're not grinding. You're not using any brute force. Just back and forth, twiddle it around. And, oh, I just accidentally picked it right there. Yeah, so easy to pick. We'll lock that back up with the key. Now it's locked back up. And you saw that the first time took me about a minute and a half. Second time, accidentally, in about 8 seconds. Something like that. And it's just very, just a little bit. You can use your pinky and thumb. And just make sure you're hitting all. You go in, do the first one. Second disc. Third disc. There's no fourth or fifth on this one, I believe, because once it gets to about here, it's just free, completely free. So do, boom. It's in, and then you just go clockwise. Just trying to go 180 degrees, just like the key. Super, super simple to get into. And it's impressive if you're showing someone, because you pull out this big, huge lock, and 99% of humans look at this and say, wow, that's a big, beefy lock. And there's so many different ways to get into this lock. It's kind of sad. But as if you look around online, any padlock, no matter how cheap or expensive, people get into them. It's, you know, what's the effort? You know, this, you're not going to get this with bolt cutters. You're probably not going to get this with a hammer. You can get it with anything pokey in there, and that just pops off. And then you can, obviously, super easy to do with a disc detainer lock. But for $8, you put this on whatever you're trying to guard, and people look at that and say, wow, I'm not going to steal whatever that is, because most thieves, what do they have? Nothing, pliers, bolt cutter, maybe a hammer, maybe a crowbar. None of that's going to work on the shackle part, because it's going to be hidden, hard to get to. So they're going to move on. Now, if a thief actually takes the time to look, oh, yeah, I'll just pop that off and jiggle around in there, and it'll come off. And if they have one of these, well, game over anyway.